I think it's why I relate so well with Hellenism, right? Because there's no in Hellenism, when when you read a lot of those stories, when you read the Odyssey, you are seeing the main character Odysseus being a man, and he cheats on his wife. He is a liar. He does horrible things, he does horrible things. But at no point do you really be like, well, he's not a man. It's like, well, of course he's a man, but he's flawed, like all men are. And I think when people start kind of qualifying and quantifying, like, oh yeah, you got to do so many things, and we see this with marketing, right? Real men drink Bud, like bull crap. Real men drink whatever tastes good to them. All right, because they don't give in to pressure around them, because they have conviction.
John Oliver played a clip, and I forgot what the context of this was. It was one of the most absurd masculine marketing pieces I've ever seen. It's what was it? It was like a burger being held by a mostly naked supermodel on an aircraft carrier with like jets and rock music playing in the background.
Yeah,
where it's like you're marketing a product that has no inherently masculine qualities about it, but you're trying to masculinize it as much as possible with like every imaginable we consider trope. Yeah.
I don't think we should do that. I mean, and again, we talked a little bit before the show about like when going back to Odysseus and like the model of what I look at as a man, right? How do you meet Odysseus? Well, he's sitting on the shore of a paradise, and he's crying, right? Like, and a lot of portrayals of masculinity in the modern era do not like to show men crying. It's not something that, or unless they're really trying to make a point, like it's got to be like, oh God, I lost my partner of 30 years, like. We were on the force together. He was a week away from retirement. And even then, they don't usually cry. They're like, I'll get revenge. Because I can't be sad. The only reasonable thing I can do is get revenge.
Yes, and actually, I love Saving Private Ryan, but I remember that they had a scene with Captain Miller where he broke down and cried. And the whole idea behind the scene was the pressure after he had lost like 90 guys under his command was so great. All he could do was cry. And I think I thought it was a great movie, but like, I think it shows that even in the healthiest context where you're trying to be as real as possible, this idea is so basic that it's like the only time real men and real heroes cry is when they just can't take it anymore.
Yeah. And I think we would probably both tell people cry. Eric, I think you and I probably belong to an era that is like on its way out, and you and I are probably in that school that house where we're like, well, we won't cry. We won't do that publicly. We would never do that. But I think we're probably both in that wheelhouse where we're like, good riddance, right? I have very like liberal friends. And they I always joke about my portrayal of masculinity, and they're like, I don't hug people, and I don't like. And I always joke, and I'm like, when I have children, when I have sons, I'm going to raise them to be incredibly emotional and like cry. If you're upset, cry, and let people know your feelings. Let them know when you're uncomfortable. Tell them, because like I don't see the way I live my life when it comes to masculinity like that. There's a lot of toxic masculinity and kind of like the way, not in like the aggressive or like mean. But in that, like, you just don't cry. You just don't do that. But I don't